first of all, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for a fantastic novel. It was so good, so good.
Thank you.
So, I mean, the very first question I want to ask you is obviously, um, I was having a look on Instagram, and you're very much an artist, a painter, whereas this book very much kind of it doesn't eschew it particularly, but it shifts from artistry to the advent of photography. So I'm quite curious, you being very much an artist yourself, what was kind of the decision, or what informed you to kind of focus on the advent of photography to kind of eschew something that you love doing, which is drawing pictures, painting?
Well, I think first and foremost, the big thing is I don't see photography as the next step for painting. I don't see it as replacing being an artist, because even
Sure.
in the work there are artists in the house. Like her all of her friends that she
Yeah.
makes, they're painters and artisans. So I don't see these as conflicting ideals at all. But the reason why I went with photography over her being someone like a skilled painter, right?
Right.
Is because I really wanted that process of her artistry to be about capturing what is happening and
Right.
being a sort of record. And when I think about photography, I think about it as a record of not just place but being. Like when a photographer, like when I paint, even if I'm painting a scene, like I am putting in my own personal interpretation of
Yeah.
like that scene.
Yeah, you're
And
altering it slightly to
yeah,
your worldview, your view of what you're seeing. No, yeah.
making the color, like changing the colors to be more pleasant, because I have to color match. I
Sure.
so Side note, when I paint, I mix my own colors, right? So I pick a palette of 3 to 5 colors, and then I mix every color in the painting from that base. So like I have to make those colors, which is what I imagine the same thing Mercy would do if she was an artist. Like if she was a painter, she would be painting like that. So you're altering and editing no matter what you do when you do that process. And there is a sort of editing that happens in photography as well, in the sense of this is the artist's eye and they are capturing the scene and
Yeah.
choosing to capture what they capture. But I feel like with photography, that is the scene though. Like
Yeah.
you can set it as much as you want, but like that is what was happening. And for the kind of photography that she's doing, there's no Photoshop, right? Like she
Yeah.
can't go back later and be like, oh, let's take out some blemishes. Like that is the scene. That is what she is seeing. That's what she is experiencing. And even her decision to capture the people of this house in this part of her life is a very it's a sort of record keeping of its own.
Uh-huh. At the same time, the story is very much kind of it's very fragmented in the sense that I don't want to get spoiled anything, but we get kind of fragments of her memory that she's remembers certain things, which is very much the opposite of what we've just been talking about photo, like a photographic memory. So I'm very curious how you approached telling this fragmented memory story to keep readers intrigued, but at the same time, this kind of succinct, onion peeling kind of storytelling way of telling the fragments in a succinct way.
Well, so I think for what readers should understand, I mean, or if they want to, you don't have to understand anything. You're the reader, you decide. But uh, Mercy is a person who is dealing with trauma, like
Right.
from the very start. And that's not a spoiler. Like it is very clear, at least it should be clear to the reader from the first page that this, whatever she's gone through, even if you don't understand, whatever, I know,
Uh,
obviously.
yeah, but no,
Like,
but yeah, obviously within the first kind of 2 or 3 chapters, it's pretty clear that she's been through something pretty
been through
terrible.
something
Yeah.
horrific. And so again, like I don't feel that these are contradictory, because
Hmm.
this is also her pulling herself back from that and like making a solid framework to survive from, because she is trying to in her way work through the aftermath of this trauma. And the aftermath of the trauma, especially like in the story, especially like in real life, right? Like when you've gone through something that's really horrible, the the way that fiction sometimes portrays this is something bad has happened, and now I'm going to sit down and I'm going to process specifically the bad thing that has happened, and that's the story. But that's
Yeah,
not reality. That's not
yeah,
how we work. We don't. We go, oh my god, my dad died, and now I'm going to sit down and think about my complex feelings three
yeah.
days later about my
No,
dad
sure.
dying. Like
Things
that's not
come to you,
how.
just certain day-to-day things will suddenly have
Yeah, you'll be
spark
like,
something in your memory, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna get through my life, and then every now and then you'll be like, wow, this is really messed up, and I'm having a
Uh-huh.
hard time, you know. And so
100%.
that's what I'm trying to capture in this book is that Mercy is going through a process of healing, of dealing with her traumatic past, but she's also doing it in a very natural way. And it is in a lot of, as she's trying to build this new life, it is in a lot of ways ruining that new life. It is something she has to deal with. She does not have the tools to
Yeah.
deal with this at all, but she is doing her best. And the photography and the decision to you, and that too is part of that trauma, because where she got that skill from the trauma,
Yeah.
and she's learning how to use it and how to make it her own, and what that means to make it her own. And that does result in this sort of strange fragmentation of survival, where
Yeah.
parts of your psyche are keying into different parts and latching on to different parts, like a life raft. Like, oh, this is something I can focus on, I can be present for this, versus I can't deal with it.
Mhm. I love that you mentioned that because you said that she doesn't really have the tools to deal with what's happened, but at the same time, I mean, she's got this relationship with Contessa, who's kind of like the matriarch of this place that she arrives at in Venice. Um, but kind of Contessa, she's wise to a certain extent, whereas Mercy is a lot more world wise because she's savvy to the world a lot more so than Contessa. But at the same time, Mercy questions herself, and she questions herself whether she's a thing, a person. Is there more to her than what she can do? I'm kind of curious what kind of conversations you had with yourself about those themes.
So for me, like the my when I was working on this book, okay, so this is a very queer story, right? Like this
Right.
is a very queer story, and I'm approaching the queer, like I'm approaching this story that is talking about a sort of awakening into who you really are as a person,
Hmm.
um, and free of the sort of heterosexual, or the hetero compulsory heterosexuality that's kind of forced on all of us, right? So that's all
Yeah.
theming in the background. But in a practical sense, this is a woman who is escaping from slavery. Like
Yeah.
she's literally in a very practical sense, she is literally seen by the people who hold her as an object.
Hmm.
Even when she talks about the previous, like where she came from with the mother, um, treats her as a doll, like a literal toy. And then the professor treats her as a tool. Like she is just an extension of his camera
Yeah.
equipment.
She's just a shadow. Yeah.
Yeah, like she's not, like, even though she's the person, like as you learned in the book, also I'm like, minor spoiler, but also not really, you're fine. Like nothing is lost, nothing is ruined.
Yeah.
You learn in the book that she's the person who's been taking the pictures. Like he trained her up, and then he does all the talkie, and she's
And
the
she does
person
all the work. Yeah.
doing the work. Um, so that is like her sort of internal struggle is, I am like, this is what I've been told, and this is what I'm still using, because she's still in this place, she's still taking the pictures. And I think for her, like, is coming to the realization that even if she never took another picture in the Contessa's house, like she would still have to do the work for the anatomist, right? Because she still got to work. But even if she never took another picture in that house, they would just be pleased that she was there.
Yeah.
They would just
Uh-huh.
be happy that she was there to tell stories, if she was going to tell stories or look pretty on the couch or whatever. She can decide how she's going to live her life. And that is the sort of thematic road that she has taken. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, so I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Coupled to that, I mean, you mentioned there about taking the photographs of the people in the house. I'm quite curious. Obviously, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's in the very first paragraph. It's a very, very visceral introduction to taking photography. I'm quite curious why you chose that specific setup to set up the story.
Because I feel like that really sets the tone of things.
Right.
That, and I'm a horror author, so
Yeah.
I gotta be horrific. But no, I really think that I think the tone of what is happening and like this how the story goes would be different if I was like, here is the Contessa sitting for her, for example,
Sure.
right? Like
Yeah.
if that's her first picture. But the first thing she does when she gets there is she photographs the dead.
Yeah.
She creates a new thing, because this has not happened like within this story, right? Like within the
Yeah.
bounds of this story. This has never happened here. This man has brought these people here to do this job that has not been done before. And
Yeah.
so she is creating a new thing. And it is based on this really horrific thing. But even in that horrific thing that is happening, she is able to pull beauty out of it. And that's
Right.
her kind of process is like, she's like, this is beautiful, I can make this beautiful. And she, in that too, is something that she's standing in opposition with her training. That is her claiming this process on her own, because the man who trained her didn't care about that.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And by extension, I'm guessing that you approach horror writing in the same way, that you kind of you go down these dark rabbit holes, but you try to find the beauty from the darkness, which is something I very much imagine you did with this book.
I do actually. So I had fun story time. I had actually have I with my publisher, it's the same publisher, but my editors have changed, right? Which is a
Right.
thing that happens. Anyone who's listening, not in publishing, that's a thing that happens. Your editors change.
Yeah.
Um, so I got a new editor, and I had to sit down and kind of talk to them about my process and stuff, because they were new.
Right.
And so one of the things I said to them is, listen, when you're going through and you're editing my manuscript, understand that at the end of the day, sometimes when I sit down and I write a sentence, I picked those words because that was the most beautiful form of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in changing.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but
so
that really, really shines through in this book a lot. Really, really does. Yeah.
thank you.
No, it really does. It reminds me. I mean, another. I don't know. I imagine you've probably read work by Eric LaRocca. It reminds me very much of him. That he writes very, very
Came
visceral
up
books,
together,
but
like
he comes up with some beautiful literature. Yeah.
we came up together. We started
All right.
publishing like around the same time, actually.
Right.
And yeah, I know Eric. Eric read the book, I think.
I
He
think.
definitely read
Yeah.
my last one.
Uh-huh. Brilliant.
Um,
Brilliant.
Great person.
No, he's fantastic. I love him. Yeah. So I mean, the theme, the kind of like we mentioned about the photography at the beginning. It's called daguerreotypes, if that's the right pronunciation. I think. I'm guessing that took you down some pretty dark pretty dark research rabbit holes. Any interesting stories that you can tell us about?
No, because it actually did. It was very. So what I learned, I thought the same thing. I thought, oh, I'm going to start researching this, and
Right.
it's going to take me to like weird places. No, because it turns out people are still really into doing photography this
Right.
way. Like people are still actively taking photography this way. So like I was able to find like literal like videos like of people doing the process from start to finish, which is how I was able to recreate it so well in the book, because I visually watch people do this, and
Right.
it's very time consuming. Like it is a very manual process with a lot of steps, a lot of chemicals, which was really interesting, because when you see it in movies, when you see this type of photography in movies, it's very quick. It's very
Yeah.
like it is very fast. Where they're like,
Yeah.
here's the
Just
plate,
dip it in there to pull it out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's it. But no, it is this like I think it's like 10 or 11 steps or something. It's a lot of steps. It's like all of these chemicals. You have to clean the plate. The plates can be reused. they're expensive because they're silver. Like there's all of these things, and it's looking back, and this to me fed into the book because it was, why would you do this? Why would you take all of this time, all of these chemicals, all of this precision? Because it's really easy to mess these plates up. They
Right.
are very fragile. They are very, very, it's not like photography today where it's like you take a picture and here's your sheet with your image and that's forever now. Like, you know, is the only thing that's going to destroy this is the sun fading. Like you have it.
Yeah.
Like, no, like these plates, they're fragile. Those images can be rubbed off. Like they are,
and in candlelight
in the candlelight
circumstances.
will ruin it. Like if your sitter moves, they have to sit for a long time. I mean, it's like 30 seconds, but like imagine you have to sit still for that long. You cannot move. So like all of these things make for a really like time consuming and hard process, and people did it. And it's like, why did people do this? Why would you do this? If like it's easier in some ways to sit for a portrait, right? Like that will take long. But if you move, the artist can fix it. If you leave and come back, the artist can fix it. Like all of these things can be reworked and done. Why would you do this process? And so that became a sort of driving question in the manuscript for me. Like, why would she do this process? Why would she keep up with this? And it's because this is the work. This is the madness of artistry. This is, you do this because you love it, and it means something to you. And whether it's because you enjoy the science, whether it's because you find the process to be meditative, because there, like I said, there's still people in the age of digital who can just snap a picture with their phone who do this specifically.
Yeah.
That it's your art, it is your purpose, it is your reason, and you get to decide what that means. And so that for me, like that research really fed into like knowing, like specifically not how it was done, but how we still do it today. Like that really led into like really understanding how this could be so important to someone like her.
I'm guessing that's kind of a reason why you are very, very particular with the wording of the, like you said, with your editor, you're very specific that you don't want the wording of your book to change because you want it to be like that, which I guess in a way is almost like taking a photograph. No, you want it to be precisely as it is.
Yeah, I do. And you know, especially when you're dealing with things like this, because there's like it's not pretty, right? Like when you're talking about like no one's like, here's how the camera works and it's beautiful, but I've got to make that sound beautiful. It's got to be
sure.
Like, I have to make the reader understand how it feels for her.
Yeah. I'm quite curious. Talking of beauty, you couldn't have picked a more beautiful place than Venice to set the story. And I'm quite curious, was there any specific reason why you chose the streets or the canals of Venice as the backdrop?
It's because I love Venice. I actually used to live in Italy.
Oh, right. You used to live there, really?
I did.
really want to go to Venice. We haven't got around to it yet, but we really want to go to Venice, the family, yeah.
You should go. It's gorgeous. I hope it rains while you're there. No, like seriously. Like you wouldn't say that usually. Like, oh, your vacation. I hope it rains. No,
it's a lot prettier like that now. Yeah,
it's so pretty. I used to live in Italy. My family was military.
Okay,
and so we were based out of Aviano, Italy. Which is where a military base is, Air Force base is there, which is, I think, like an hour, maybe an hour and a half away from Venice. So I've been to Venice like a bunch of times when I was younger. And it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I love when it rains. And because when it rains, so the city is sinking. Like that's real. The city is sinking.
Yeah.
And when it rains, different like San Marco Square, it all floods.
Right.
And then when it stops raining, it's like a mirror. It's so beautiful. Like the water goes still, and especially at night, it reflects the moon and the sky and all the buildings around, and there's like no cars, so everything is clear and beautiful and perfect. I love that city. So when I was like, I'm gonna write a book, it just was the place for me.
Yeah. And if you knew it like the back of your hand, even easier, not to write about it. Exactly. Yeah. Did you
Because I've
actually
been
go
there.
back? Did you actually go back there to when you were writing the book, or was it just all based on memory of you being there?
It's based on memory of me being there.
Right.
I did not go back. I could not travel. I was actually moving across the country
Right.
at the time I was writing the book.
Right.
So,
Uh-huh.
I was traveling, but like to Minnesota.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So I'm quite curious. Mercy, she goes from the horrors of it. It's not. It's she goes from these horrors. I don't want to give too much away, but she goes from these horrors that she's experienced at the beginning, before the story actually starts, to kind of this hyper decadent house under Contessa's control. She's like the matriarch. Um, I'm quite curious how you gauged balancing kind of this hideous sense of new freedom with the sense of underlying dread that is all the way through the book.
Um, that was a really just play it by ear.
Yeah.
That was really play it
Was,
by ear.
was it a reverse engineer process, or was it more kind of an organic
It was
pants thing writing?
very, it was very organic.
Organic,
Well, I did have an outline, right? Like I
right?
did have an outline, like these are the things that are going to happen. And when I was working the outline, I knew that what I knew is I really wanted the reader to get a sense of how opulent this house was. I
Right.
really wanted the reader to understand, like, this is the best carnival festival house. It's every night is a party. It's going to be a good time. You're going to love it.
Was that specifically based on any building or any place that you visited in Venice?
It was not.
It wasn't.
That was like, I think I want to fit this out. And
Right.
also, like, I really wanted to contrast my first book, Midnight Rooms, where she another house book, where she's in what should be this house and it's not. And then this is what this house would look like if it was what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Um, and where all those crazy, scary turns that Orabella is dealing with, where she's getting lost in the halls, are for Mercy. It's like around every corner there's laughter, and
Yeah.
people are having a good time, and there's a friend in every door. It's great.
Yeah.
So, like, that's really what I was kind of contrasting, or that was my base. And then when I was working on it, I would write, this nice fun scene, and I'd be like, okay, so like, where's our horror? Like, then I would find the points for, like, this is where the dread comes in. This is where we start noticing that things are not right. Like, how do we balance this? How do we get the reader to understand this? And then for me, the additional struggle was Mercy herself, because she is very shell shocked. And it's like, how do we make sure, like, we can't just have her wandering through the halls completely oblivious,
Yeah.
like, and so she becomes not paranoid, but she is very cautious of everything, and
Yeah.
that adds to the dread and allows the reader, I think, to attach some of those emotions too.
Definitely. Yeah. I think she's very kind of ruminative and very kind of uncertain about herself and kind of what this new freedom means for her, right? And that in itself is quite terrifying. Yeah. Uh-huh. Brilliant. So, I want to talk by extension the horror and the psychology of the book. It's no spoiler because it's in the blurb that the horror here is very intimate and personal. Because Mercy faces this realization that the threat in Venice could be linked to her. Maybe this is something that's in the blurb, so it's not a spoiler.
Yeah,
So,
the book, guys.
but typically, kind of this kind of horror, cosmic horror, typically kind of relies on the indifferent monsters who really don't have any kind of sentiments or care, or they're not bothered about what happens to their victims. So I'm quite curious how you navigated this balance or this shift from an external monster story to the internal psychology terror in the book.
All right. So this is gonna be a long one. It's gonna be a long answer. Because it is so funny, because I just got tagged where someone wrote an essay about Black people handling cosmic horror, and they tagged one of my old stories,
Right.
which was Breaking the Waters. Uh, but the kind of short answer is I'm Black, and this is a story about a Black person, and we don't handle cosmic horror the same way. Like,
Same
we
way.
don't
Okay.
have the same feelings about that sort of horror and the
Yeah.
indifference of the universe as um, some of our older
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
um, so when we are looking at this, for me, when I'm working in the cosmic, right? Um, I I approach it as, all right, there's this thing in the universe. It doesn't care about me. But like, what if it did? What if it did? What if I'm actually interesting? What
Right.
if the world is interesting? Otherwise, why would it be here?
Yeah.
What if we're part of this? And I think that actually feeds back into the sort of so it's gonna be long. That actually feeds back into like what we think about as when we think about like the beginning of a comic horror, like when we're thinking about like H.P. Lovecraft and Robert Chambers and like all of them, like when we're thinking about these people, when they are writing their horrors, if you read it, there's always that line of racism.
Yeah.
And they're all in like we talk like it is very racist. And we talk about it and we say, this is racist, but we don't ever really like think about like the way that it is racist. And the way that it is racist most of the time, with the exception of whatever the hell that monkey story was, the orangutan. Like there is one by Edgar Allan Poe, but I'm talking specifically about the one that H.P. Lovecraft wrote, where he was like, these people were descended from apes or
Right.
something. That one. But when we are talking, and also a little bit of that one, when we are talking about these stories, the thing that is happening is the people of color are in league with these cosmic beings. They are
Yeah.
part of this thing. And I think when people of color write about these stories, when we write about these ideas, that is a thing that we think about. Like when this is thought about, like when these people, they always thought about us like talking to these creatures, understanding these creatures, having some line to these creatures. And that was a way that they used to say that, look how horrible these Black folk are. But like, we get to define what that means now.
Yeah.
We get to talk about what it's like to be, because this is othering. Like that is
Yeah.
what is happening. That is why they are doing this. They are othering people of color in these stories. So we are othered. And now we are looking at writing our own stories. And what does it mean to be othered in these places
Right.
where the other is cosmic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that mean? What does it mean to be human in a space where
Yeah.
you are being othered, where you are being put in the same category, a lesser part of that category, but in the same category of these just completely unknowable beings? And
Yeah.
because that's what's happening. So when I work in the cosmic, which I love to work in the cosmic. I love a good cosmic horror. When I work in those spaces, that is at the background. How is this functioning? This person is other. This person is outside of the normal. They
Yeah.
are shoved into the same category of this unknowable beast. How does that work? How do
Right.
they interact with it? Because they're still human. Mercy is a human woman. She is
Yeah.
like, sorry guys. But like, how does that work? What does that mean? Especially when you're dealing with a character who is like, she's wondering, like, did I change? Which is a possibility. When you read the
Yeah.
book, maybe she did. Maybe she did. I'm not telling you. I'm not
Yeah.
confirming or denying.
Yeah.
Read the
Because she
book.
says she specifically says she gains more with her freedom than herself in
Yeah.
one part of the book. Yeah.
So, what change, and what is that like, and what does that mean? And what does it mean to be other, like what does it mean when you have a universe where these things exist and the universe itself is like, you are like these things, and then that same universe allows those people to be enslaved? What does that mean? And
Yeah.
this is a question that, you know, exists still in those classic works, because racism is still the same. Like it is still the same thing. It still
Yeah.
works the same way. And so there's slavery, and there's Jim Crow, and there's all of these things that still exist within these realities, with these creatures, that those realities are saying those things are like you
Yeah.
are aligned with them. And it's like, okay, well, if I was aligned with you know, this man eating monster, then why am I in shackles?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Great, but I don't want to talk too much more about the book because I don't want to spoil it. But I want people to enjoy the experience going in as blind as possible. So just to finish off before I let you go, I'd love to ask some more rapid fire questions, more general questions, if that's okay with you. So I mean,
Let's go.
the first one, you being an author, if your life had chapter titles, what chapter would you say you are in now?
Really boring, but just Minnesota, the frozen north. I moved to Minnesota like 2 years
All
ago.
right. Uh-huh.
So this is all like, just wow. This is my nature. Actually, you know what? This is my nature season. This is my nature time. I'm getting super into gardening.
All right. So you left writing on the side for a little bit for the moment?
No, I still got to write, because
You're
I
right.
still got to work. I got
Yeah,
another
you're
book
sure.
that's gonna come
Yeah.
out.
Uh-huh. But would you say that changing, moving house, changing location also changes the way that you approach writing, maybe?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, so many things changed when I moved. Like it was a major life change. But you know, yes, it really did change how I approach the work, what themes I'm approaching in the work. I mean, you can still count on me for your
Yeah, horror.
for your beautiful words, but you know, the ideas that I have, it's been so freeing and so just eye-opening to have moved out of Pennsylvania to
Uh-huh.
here.
I mean, specifically Minnesota, what would you say specifically has changed or shifted the way that you approach writing?
Um, so before, like, I feel like I didn't allow myself, this is all very personal, but it's fine. I didn't really allow myself, like, I would sit down, and like the writing was like, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna stare at the screen until I write. And now I'm like, I'm allowed to live. I'm allowed to
Right.
live, and that like really opens my mind to a lot of new possibilities with the work. So I do, like, I used to sit, and like a lot of my thoughts in the work would be at the screen. So I'd be here, I have a screen, and like that would be where like everything is happening here. And now I'm like, I am out in the world, I'm doing things, and then I'm like, oh, and getting my input and thinking and turning the story over um outside the screen, and I'm able to come down and like write. So
Uh-huh.
like as a process, it has really changed
Uh-huh.
in that part. But like as far as like how like the way that I write, like in like the finished prose process, that has remained the same, because I had a really strong style. I
Right.
had a really strong style. But I am open. I'm getting more vivid and differentiated ideas. Like
Right.
I have different thoughts on horror, and like how I can really mess you up differently. And
That
like
sounds good. That sounds good to me.
I can like approach things from a different direction, and
Right.
the ways I can draw people into a sense. Like I'm working on this story about like cold as cosmic horror, right?
Right.
And that has been a real experience, because you know it's a temperature, right?
Yeah.
It's a temperature. I can't be like,
Oh,
there's
but
a monster.
temperature plays a really big role in, especially in movies. Some of the greatest movies, some of the greatest books as well. The Shining, The Thing, all these kind
Yes.
of things. The cold is, yeah, it's a great
So, but
horror.
unlike The Shining, I'm not. There's no monster. There's no ghosts that
No, you
come
can
and
go out and do some gardening. Yeah, yeah,
it is just so cold. But like working with that, and like especially experiencing nature, right? Like because
right.
I had never really experienced that before. Like the cold here. I don't. Have you ever been to Minnesota?
No, I've never been to Minnesota. No, no, no.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I've never felt cold like this before. Like I had, it was -10 degrees. The sun was shining. It was beautiful. I took out my trash. I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. This is fine. Like, what are people complaining about? And then I went out that same night and it was like -20. And I didn't even go outside. I just went into, I live in an apartment. I just walked into my vestibule where there's no climate control, like there's no heating in there. I thought I was going to die. It was so cold. I was like, oh my God, like, is this
where have we moved? Yeah.
It was so cold. So I was like, I need to write about this.
Yeah.
I need to make this thing. So like those sorts of things, like those ideas, those experiences, they are now starting to seep into my work. They are now becoming things I can pull at and like create greater terror for you all.
Brilliant, brilliant. I can't wait. Next question. When you were writing The Sunken, the ADORED, can you think of a mistake or an unexpected surprise that you're secretly grateful for?
I think the thing that kind of sticks out to me is I wrote Julia, who's her aunt. I'm not gonna talk a lot about her. But when I wrote the first draft of her, like the first original occurrence, she was not like an important character. She was just that lady during the scene where she's like, oh, you do the camera, tell us about it. She was just, that was just her. She was just there to be like this like one moment of a person in this house. And then I was like, when I was doing my edits, I was like, there's more with her, there's more here. And then I was able to pull that thread. So that was like my little happy surprise. And other than that, I had the tarot reader and I didn't connect it until like the third draft that I was like, oh my God, it's a little white dog. It's the fool. Thank you, Past Donyae, for putting that little thing in there. So I was able to like connect those two things. But like during the first draft, I absolutely was like, and that's weird because I read tarot, but like during the first draft, I was like, it's more like that.
So similar to that, obviously you make mistakes or you come up with surprises, but I'm quite curious, what would you say your worst enemy about when it comes to writing?
My worst enemy when it comes to writing, editing. No, no, it's not editing. Editing is where all the like writing stuff happens. I think my word. Okay, so it actually kind of is editing, but like I don't mind editing, right? Like the issue is that I mind editing. The issue is I'm always like, because the book has to go to print. Like the book has to go to print. So when I go into the edits, I'm always like, it's always like, oh, there's something I could say this better. I could do this better. Oh, I can describe this a little bit. So it's always like stopping the edits and like releasing the book because it's gotta go to print. And I only do this in books because I write short stories too. And
you don't have that problem. No.
But like when it comes to the novel, I'm always like, oh, I could have, and it's always it's little things. I'm like, oh, I could have said this better. I could have written this better. And it's like, no one else is going to do it. This is like, it's got to go to print.
Yeah. So how do you decide then? Is it easy for you eventually to send it off to print? Is it easy to say, right, it's done, dusted, I can't do anything anymore, that's it?
Well, because I am traditionally published, right? Like I have a publisher, which would be different, right? If I was self-published, because then I could just be like, I want to. But like, no, I'm on deadline. Like they're like, hey, we need this back. So however you feel about whatever's in there, like you just got to feel that way because it's got to go. It's got to go to the next level. We need it for the copy editor. We need it for the arcs. Like we got to go. Like so. That's the mechanism, right? That eventually like, oh, I have to, like, it has to go. And this isn't to say that like the book is not ready. Like the book is ready. The book is ready. It's just like your own internal.
You're always thinking of possible ways of bettering things, no? Yeah.
Exactly. Like it's never perfect. You just stop working on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. Also, coupled to that, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you're very controlling when it comes to kind of the specific ways that you write things because you want them to read in a specific way when you send them to your editor. But I'm curious what else you're a control freak about.
It's really just that. I
Yeah,
know,
just that.
I know. I'm like
No.
really weird because I'm not. I'm very, and you know what? I can be a little control freak about the cover, but not for these because I was kind of at first because I'm an artist, right? Like I'm an artist.
Are the front covers? Is that your artwork or is that
It
somebody
is
else's?
not. It
It's
is
not.
not.
Because it's quite similar to the things that I've seen on Instagram.
Everyone says that, and I thought for a while that people. So the artist is Marco Manzani. He's an Italian artist.
Right.
I think he is tagged in Midnight Rooms. I tag him all the time on Threads. Like
Right.
every time someone's like, "Your cover's lovely," I'm like, "This is the artist." But like, I thought when Midnight Rooms came out because he did both covers, a lot of people were like, "Oh my god, did you do your own cover?" And I thought they were
Yeah.
just blowing smoke, like they were
No,
just
no, no.
like
I
trying to
honestly thought it was there.
right? Until I have another friend who's an artist, and they said the same thing, and I was like, "Look, um, why do people think this?"
Yeah.
And that friend like listed all of the similarities in our work, and I was like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
you are correct. It's not me though.
Yeah.
It is an Italian man actually. It is a
Right.
he's an Italian artist. He's an Italian colored pencil artist."
But how? I also like to ask this to the authors. How hands-on were you with the artwork? Then do you have a kind of? Are
So
you in constant conversation with the Italian
I
artists?
I am not.
No.
What happened? So they did him for both my books. So we got to go back to Midnight Rooms for the
Right.
answer to the question. When I was doing the cover for Midnight Rooms, so when you're getting your cover for your book, like everybody, it's all a little different, right? So this is Amistad, how they handle
Yeah.
it. You send your editor other artwork or book covers. So usually it's book
Right.
covers that you like. I sent artwork because I'm that bitch. But like, I sent my artworks and then I sent an email that was like, here's why I like these. And this
Right.
is what I'm looking for. And this is what I want. And here are some concepts. And then they sent an artist, like, they were like, well, what about this artist? And I was like, no. And this is why I hate them. Don't play with me. Right.
Right.
After that first time, then now I know the art director is just sick of me. I know he's frustrated. So then like I know I'm pissing him off. So then he sends back another list with more artists, and I was like, these all also suck, and here's why. Like, and so then finally, and like, so we're on round 3 of this exchange. I know he's fuming. He hates me. I
Yeah.
know it.
Seconds out, round 3.
So he comes back with round 3. And now this is this is a big list. And every artist on that list is a killer. Every single one, straight killer. Like, I was like, yes, I knew I could argue them down into this. Like, amazing artists. Every single, I would have been happy with any single one of those. But top of the
Right.
list was Marco. And I was
Right.
like, that's who I want. And like, I had like pages of like, this is what I'm thinking about. And I was like, if you can get him, he can do whatever he wants. He can, whatever, it's going to be great. He can do whatever he wants. And then they got him. And he did. He came back with the
Right.
cover of Midnight Rooms. And I was like, yes, you're amazing. I love you. And then, and then for the Sunken, the Adored, same rule applied. He can do whatever he wants. I don't care.
Right.
Whatever. It's
Yeah.
going to be great. And so they did. They didn't consult me, and they weren't like, this is what cover you want. Actually, I think I did send a cover. I did send a cover. Like, what covers were you thinking about? I did send that email, but I was also like, you're getting the same guy. He's good.
Yeah.
Like, he's all right. And then he came back with the cover for the Sunken, the
Uh-huh.
Adored, and it was
Brilliant.
gorgeous.
That
So
is brilliant. It really is curious that the artwork is very similar to the kind of thing that you do yourself. Yeah, I guess that's why you liked him so much because it is quite similar to the kind of things that you put out. Yeah.
yeah, I knew about him before he did my covers. I was already a fan of his work. I
All
actually
right.
took a so he taught a course on colored pencil on Domestika, which is like a Skillshare type like
Right.
website. And I took his course, so I had actually talked to him
And you
long before,
you
it was like
hadn't realized.
2020 or something.
Yeah.
So I had actually talked to him long before this whole thing ever happened. And then he became my cover artist. And I was like, oh my God, I took his course. I am sending him so much money. You know, like, he's gotten so much money off of me.
It's a really small world, though. It's crazy. Yeah. Listen, just to finish off, then final question, and this could be. It doesn't have to be writing related. It could be whatever you want. What hill will you happily die on?
Ooh, what hill will I die on? Oh, I am not a fan of dying on hills. Yes. So my number one male Instacart shoppers should be banned. They should be banned. I don't know what your experience with the Instacart is, but like me
I've
and
never
all the
used it, to be
homies.
honest.
Okay, well, like if you ever use it, if you get a guy, you like your order is going to be messed up. They're going to come back to you. They're going to come back with some craziness. Like I was making dinner and I ordered beef gravy. I ordered beef gravy because I was going to make like a meat and noodle
Maybe
thing.
saw some things. Yeah.
Yeah. And I got pickled beets. Pickled beets. I was like, what am I going to do with this? And I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. If you Google it, if you look on any social media, you will read pages and pages of stories about.
I'm sure there's plenty of Reddit posts about
there are
what people have received. Yeah.
They substitute crazy stuff. You'll be like, oh, I need a watermelon for like my fruit salad, and they'll be like, oh, I brought you some watermelon Jolly Ranchers. It's like the same thing.
Yeah.
I need Uncrustables, and I'll be like, I got you some fish. Like,
I think I've seen some American skits about that, about them ordering things, and they just instantly substitute it for something else. If I'm not right, if I'm correct, is that right? They decide whatever they think is the best substitute.
They just go there. I've gotten shopped, so I don't drive, so I get Instacart because I don't drive.
Right.
And I've gotten guys who will come and like as soon as they start shopping, they just like start telling me stuff isn't in stock. They'll be like, "There's no milk and sugar anywhere in this store." Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Take a picture of the aisle. They'll take a picture. The item you wanted is like right there in the picture, and now you're directing them. You're like, okay, look down, right there. Can you read that? No.
It'd be quicker to get a driving license and get there yourself in the end, yeah.
Yeah, like so. No, like if we're gonna have them, they need training. They need to take a test to prove they know how to navigate a grocery store.
How to find milk. Yeah.
Like I will die on this hill. Like they don't have the skills. They don't have the skill set.
Well, that was completely unrelated to the book, but that's a great place to end the interview. Listen, Donyae, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for a great book. Like I said, I loved it to bits. I can't wait for people to read it so we can everyone can speak about it. And I hope to get to speak to you again sometime soon about the book and Insta Trolley or whatever.
This was lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. All right. Have a great day. Take care now.
Too.
Bye now.
Bye.